There's nothing quite like the feeling of enjoying a blazing campfire in the great outdoors. And it's always worth having a few different methods to get that fire started. The Clickspring Fire Piston is a high-quality fire starting device that's perfect for the task. And it's been specifically designed with campers, preppers and outdoor enthusiasts in mind. Using an ignition technique completely different to most fire starting methods, it's particularly well suited to starting a fire in high wind conditions, and so is a perfect component of any survival, camping or hiking bag. Now, aside from its practical use, it's also a fun gadget to play with, and it makes a terrific gift for friends and family, especially those who love a device that requires a little bit of skill to use. Precision machined to exacting tolerances, this device has been built to last. The cylinder is formed from a single piece of aluminium and has been anodised for both durability and performance. The piston and end caps are made from solid brass and feature an internal compartment for storing tinder, as well as a small liquid-filled compass. The lanyard has been provided slightly long at 700mm to allow you to tie the knot to suit your taste and customise the length to your requirements. The brass lanyard bead threads onto the lanyard and completes the presentation of the device. So that you can immediately start using it, there are 2 packets of Char Cloth tinder included in your purchase, and instructions on how to make more Char Cloth are provided later in this video. Now, there are of course many other methods for starting a fire, but few, if any, of those methods are as interesting or as much fun to use as this little device. It takes a little bit of skill to get a consistent result, so there's a lot of fun to be had getting family and friends involved and seeing just who can master it first. A useful, entertaining and highly presentable tool, the Clickspring Fire Piston is a must-have item for every well-prepared household. Be sure to purchase yours from the link on screen. And if you'd like an immediate $10 discount on your purchase, then consider becoming a Clickspring patron. As a patron of the channel, you not only help me bring you more and better video content, but you also get immediate access to the Patron series of videos, free plans for the Patron series projects, and as I mentioned, for a limited time, $10 off on your purchase of the Clickspring Fire Piston. Visit patreon.com/Clickspring to find out more. The fire piston is an ancient fire starting technology that can be traced back to several traditional cultures. Using the principle of adiabatic heating, much like the modern diesel engine, the rapid compression of air within the cylinder as the user closes the piston leads to a corresponding rapid rise in temperature. If the compression occurs fast enough, then a piece of tinder positioned on the end of the piston can be made to ignite and then subsequently used to start a fire. To get started using the Clickspring Fire Piston, tear off a small piece of Char Cloth and then gently roll it into a ball. Push that ball into the cone shape at the end of the brass piston. Once the Char Cloth is in place, insert the piston back into the cylinder, with the end of the piston just inside the bore to ensure that the piston will have a full stroke. Now, there are 2 methods to get ignition. One is to push the piston closed between both hands, and the other is to push it down from above on a surface. In each case, the piston must be compressed to its maximum compression point very rapidly. Most people find pushing down from above to be the easiest way to get their first ignition. But don't be discouraged if you don't see an ignition right away. It does take a few tries to get the hang of it. The main thing you're aiming for is speed of closure. You really do need to close that piston very fast. And it also helps if you can briefly hold the piston at the position of maximum pressure. Once you get the hang of basic ignition, this part of the technique will ensure that you get a light off almost every time. When you do see an ignition, gently blow on the ember to establish it and then use it to ignite a separate piece of Char Cloth. Place that separate piece into a larger nest of tinder and Char Cloth. Again, gently blow on it to establish an open flame and you've got yourself a fire. A substance known as Char Cloth is the recommended tinder for the Clickspring Fire Piston. It ignites readily and in normal conditions burns slowly. However, if you provide it with additional airflow by blowing on it or by placing it in a strong wind, it'll easily ignite surrounding material into open flame, making it the perfect tinder for starting a campfire. Take a small tin like this Altoids tin and punch or drill a hole in the top. Next, place a piece of 100% cotton inside the tin. It's important that it be 100% cotton, and I find that this cotton canvas does a great job. In a suitably fireproof area, heat it with the flame from a propane torch to start the process of charring the cotton. You'll initially see yellow flame coming out of the side and top of the tin, which indicates that the process is underway. That flame soon decreases until there's just a single small flame extending from the top hole. Once this flame extinguishes, the formation of the char cloth is complete and you can leave the tin to cool down. When the tin is cooled, remove the piece of char cloth to examine it. It should be flexible and still show the woven pattern of the original cotton fabric. As you tear off a sample piece, you should be able to hear and feel it tear and see clear threads at the torn edge. And although it looks a bit worse for wear, the tin can be reused many times. Fold a section of char cloth into a foil wrap like this. Unscrew the piston handle and then confirm that the foil wrap will slide loosely in and out of the compartment. When you're satisfied that it'll drop out when required, seal off the cap and then reinsert the piston back into the cylinder. Your fire piston is now good to go for your next outdoor adventure. When you go to start a fire, retrieve the supply of char cloth and then use it in exactly the same way as described previously. The remaining supply of char cloth can be wrapped up and restored for future use. Or if you prefer, it can be ignited and then used to start a fire. The Clickspring Fire Piston will function in most of the same weather conditions as the other common fire starting methods. But there is one circumstance where it stands out well ahead of the rest, and that's in strong wind conditions. Where other methods may struggle to maintain ignition, this device not only functions but in fact thrives on the extra airflow. Instead of blowing gently on the ember after ignition, in strong winds you can simply point the piston into the breeze and watch the ember grow in intensity. A Clickspring Fire Piston is a worthy addition to any fire starting kit, no matter what your outdoor environment may be. But it's especially so if you'd like a tool that covers this specific circumstance. Your fire piston will arrive to you clean and lubricated and ready for immediate use. However, it's quite normal after continued use for char cloth residue to begin to build up within the cylinder bore. To clean away this residue, begin by disassembling the unit. A pipe cleaner or soft rag is sufficient to clean out the bore, and a damp cloth is appropriate to clean off any dirt on the exterior. Now the char cloth residue is quite soft, so to protect the surface finish of your fire piston, be sure to avoid using any sort of abrasive cleaner. Reassemble the unit and then place a single drop of light oil on the piston. Work the piston up and down a few times in the cylinder and then close off the end cap. Be sure to tighten the end cap firmly to create a good seal. You should feel the device immediately return to a smooth action, and your fire piston is now ready again for use.